Yes, quality of life is very difficult to measure in the whole human population because it depends on what day you're asking about it. But there are proven and validated tools out there that are pretty simple to administer. But another thing about CMS, well, two comments. One, it would be, I was at the American Spinal Injury Association meeting a few months ago, and we had a panel, and one of the representatives was from CMS and one from FDA, and talking about mostly how to get pharmaceutical therapies across and approved to spinal cord injury. But there are people in those organizations that are willing to talk and try to work with us. So that would be one option, to try in creating an organized unit to try and approach somebody at CMS to find out, well, what is it that we really need to be proving in order to get something reimbursable. The other thing is we need to change some people's views of what is medically necessary. And get the more money you ask for, the less likely they're there to say that it's medically necessary. But one thing is, if you can give a person with a cervical spinal cord injury through neurotechnology the function in their arms and hands back so that they can then take care of themselves every day and not have to rely on a human being every morning and every night to take care of them, because without that human being, they will die. And that's a medical necessity, and that's what I face every day, and that's what you face every day. And so some education, I think, needs to occur with the federal government agencies and show that some things really, really, really are medically necessary. And the same thing would hold true for bladder and bowel function, because if you can't do it on your own, you'll die.
And I'm certainly no expert as these two are in this area, but there's something called activities of daily living, ADLs. I'm not quite sure exactly what's on them. I remember being surprised to discover that driving in LA is not an activity of daily living, but that no system is perfect, I guess. But and I can't drive yet, so just about to. But one point I was going to make is that walking, for stroke victims, mobility seems to me really to be a necessity, whether or not they're able to drive. The ability to walk, at least that's the thing that I hope that at some point the CMS folk would address, because the restoration of a functional mobility, when you said earlier about measurements that might miss something, I could walk in the sense that with a brace and a cane I could get from one side of the room to the other, but not in any real functional sense, and certainly not at a functional speed. I think I could walk at half a mile an hour. I could maintain that, but that's not any kind of function. And it seems to me that a device, a neuroelectric device that really restores that and does so consistently, should be something that's regarded as medically necessary. It's not necessary to stay alive, but I think necessity has to be something less than the major heart surgery without which you'll die. It should be something which enables you to lead a fuller life, which restores an activity of daily living. At least that's what I would hope.
We have time for one more question. Any other questions out there? Comments?
Oh, go ahead. Oh. There's a question back there. Go ahead.
Comment first. If I may ask, how much does your L300 cost?
Oh yes, it's $6,000. It was $6,000.
Just out of curiosity, how much do you think it costs to manufacture?
Oh, I have no idea, because I used to be involved in banking as well as filmmaking, so I guess the question would be, I believe they spent years researching it, so how do you count for that? I mean, sitting there on the table or on my leg, you know, it's not the raw material, it's I guess the years and years of development.
Okay, I have a off-the-wall, but maybe obvious comment to you. I suppose there's several people in the audience that are in the process of developing various neurotechnology devices, and the pain market is by far the biggest one. It's probably several hundred times the spinal cord injury market, so I wouldn't want everybody running off to do pain stuff because I'm selfish and I'd like you guys to develop spinal cord injury devices. But if someone in the room were to develop a device that just absolutely slam dunk helped out pain, this problem about reimbursement would not be here. It would go away. So we've talked about this in spinal cord injury for years about how hard it is to develop a cure for spinal cord injury, but what happens after we get a cure for spinal cord injury? Will the government ever pay for it? Listen, I'd love to have that problem because I think that would be so easy. So my take-home message for you guys is think big. Really try to come up with products that would, just beyond a shadow of a doubt, improve people's lives. And I think this issue that we have about reimbursement would not be so large.
And then if you reach out to the population that can use this and show them just how effective it is, then there's nothing like the voice of the people to put pressure on the government, and it will happen when you have something that is really strong.
Excellent. I think that's a great take-home message, and I appreciate all the panelists for today, and again the discussion that took place.
Great.